Hello and welcome to The World Today with Kay. Well, ours is to create a stage or a platform where people can share their opinions and ideas about different aspects of the world, and also for us to bring a place where peace, justice, and positive change can be achieved. So today's topic is about cross-cultural marriages. Well, people are moving here and there abroad just for work, for different reasons, and people are finding love in different cultures. And today's program is just to really talk about what it's like to be in a relationship where you're both from different cultures. And especially when we're here in Sweden today, I mean, multiculturalism is something very new, and different people are afraid of getting into relationships because they see that there is so much complexity. First of all, how the society views you, but also how to cope or deal with each other when you're from different cultures. And I feel that the Swedish culture is such a different culture. So it's very interesting to see what it's like when a Swede is together with somebody from a different culture. I think I've seen friends and colleagues get together, and many times I've seen also a lot of mysteries, and it's such a mystified thing when it comes to what is it like really on a day-to-day basis. How do you raise your children? What language do you speak? What values do you pass on to your family? And what is important and what is not important, and what is worth talking about, what is not worth talking about. These are things that are very interesting and I think relevant in the society that we're living in today. And I've spoken to some people who I've seen in cross-cultural marriages, and I'd like to interview them. Maybe they can share some tips, maybe they can share some tension that they go through, or things that they've had to really fight for or fight against as they're living together as a married couple. Also, another thing I want to bring to view is also how children are reared when they come from a mixed culture family. I think it's worth noting down, and I hope today you'll be encouraged, you'll be enlightened. If you're afraid of getting into one, maybe this will make you know that it's not that hard, it's not that complicated, and maybe we can demystify some of these things that seem to be very blurry when it comes to this. So today, our first couple that I'm going to interview are the Palmgrens, and they'll introduce themselves a bit more. So you're very welcome today. Welcome back, viewers. We have a guest or a couple today in the studio, and they'll introduce themselves. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, would you take some time just to introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and where you come from, maybe.
My name is Margaret Chege. I come from Kenya. Yes.
And I'm Gunnar Palmgren, and I come here from Gothenburg, and my family has lived in Gothenburg for several generations.
All right, great. So you're from two different countries, two different cultures.
Yes.
And that's what it's about today. It's about cross-cultural marriages. And I just want to find out a little bit about the genesis of the two cultures coming together, the two people coming together. And maybe the first question I could ask is, is this something that you always dreamt about? Did you ever think that, okay, I'm just going to look for somebody who has a different culture, or how did you come to being together? It's interesting.
Yeah, I would like to talk about maybe the power of a dream.
Yeah.
And as a young girl, I remember I was 12, and I lived with my auntie. And I was fascinated with a group, a Swedish group, pop group called ABBA. And I just loved them. And by then, I thought as a young girl, okay, maybe one day I'd like to go to Sweden. And later it morphed to, I like to be married by a Swede. But the funny thing is that I didn't even know where Sweden was.
Of course.
I really did not know. I didn't
Mhm.
even know Sweden was so north. It was
Mm.
so cold. Maybe I could have changed my mind. But that was so many years ago.
Yeah.
So later, when I came to meet someone from Sweden,
Mm-hmm.
then I can say that my dreams came true.
Yeah, and for you, was it something that you had thought about for years, or?
No, I actually hadn't thought about it at all. So,
Mm.
but at the same time, I have a mind that the the heart of the person is more important
Mhm.
than how the person look.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't care if it's white or black or
Mhm.
whatever
Yeah.
skin color the person has,
Yeah.
as long as I can
Communicate and express
communicate,
yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we can have similar views and
Mm-hmm. So then, my next question is: when you met and you got together, are there things that you maybe outrightly or some time later you got to find out were very different? Because I'm sure you've had a relationship with someone from your own cultures. Was it the same thing, or did you see differences immediately?
you start.
Yeah, as you say that we've all of us have. I have had a relationship before,
Mm.
and maybe it was that seed of wanting to reach where my dream was that pushed me to look for, or even to search for what I wanted.
Mm.
There were, of course, everybody has their own fantasy
Mm-hmm.
of how it will be, and yes, I have come to realize that it is my desires. Most of them were met. What I wanted, I came to realize, yeah, I'm where I wanted to be.
But were there notable cultural differences? Yeah.
Yes, there
Mhm.
were. There were notable cultural differences. I found that, first of all, as coming from Africa, I don't know, this is my own view,
Mm.
and having relationships with many from Africa,
Mm.
I find my husband very. He's very. What can I say? He's loving.
Mm.
I don't mean that the others are not loving. But
What do you really mean then?
I mean, like, he's treated me the way I wanted to be treated.
Okay.
He values me
Mhm.
as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
He looks at me as, he values me. He has showered me with a lot of love and a lot
Mhm.
of compassion,
Mm-hmm.
and that is something I've always looked for.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for you, what are there notable cultural differences when you started to see each other?
Yeah, there were cultural differences. Some I knew about,
Mm-hmm.
like the way you discipline children
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah, that's interesting.
Africa
Mhm.
and in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
So
Maybe
that
maybe
was-
specifically Kenya, because she's
Yes.
not, it's better to keep it to Kenya, because I
Yeah.
don't think all Africa is the same.
no,
Yeah.
but I would say that Sweden
Mm-hmm.
is maybe northern countries
Mm-hmm.
are treating children much differently than other countries.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I believe we are too lenient, but that was one of the first things I
Yeah.
think
Noted,
I
yeah.
brought up because I knew about the difference,
Mhm.
and I knew that Maggie wanted to move here,
Mm.
and I realized that if she is like, yeah, we should have corporal punishment to
Mm.
keep the children in place,
Mm.
it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
But there were other cultural differences, and when I say cultural differences, I mean between the modern Swedish culture and the culture in Kenya
Mm-hmm.
that I was looking for,
Mm-hmm.
because I've been brought up by my grandparents
Mhm.
and very much brought up by the old culture in Sweden,
Yeah.
where family was important,
Mm.
where you took care of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And in modern Sweden, that's something I miss.
Mm-hmm.
So when I met Maggie and I got this taking care of part
Mm.
that I was missing in the Swedish society,
Yeah.
I felt like, yeah, this is what I've been looking for.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That's interesting that you say that, because I mean that's a big thing that I've noticed here when it comes to the modern family, like you're saying. But I'm wondering also about exposing each other to the core of who you are. Was there some fear about that, knowing that, oh my goodness, this might be so different from what he or she knows?
Yes.
And maybe this might be a deal breaker if he sees this. Are there things maybe you fear to expose to each other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, my life has always been very having a lot of people around me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had my children, I was living with a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
and that was one of the things I was afraid that if he comes to realize that okay, she has so many people that are dependent on her,
Mm-hmm.
he's going to say like, I can't handle it.
So how many people were dependent on you?
Actually, I had my 2 children.
Mhm.
I had my sister with her daughter. I had a girl. I still have her. She's a girl who I picked, not picked. I
Mm.
got from the streets.
Yeah.
And she's though I haven't, never adopted her because she was older. She's like my daughter. She calls me mom.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I had a lady who used to work for me before she got sick,
Mm-hmm.
and she actually just before I moved to Sweden, she died that December. We moved
Oh,
in
dear.
March.
Yeah.
So all along her sickness, I took over her daughter and her 2 sons.
Mm-hmm.
So my house was like, I don't know how many people are. There was about 10 over.
So
Actually, we were
Gunnar-
always 11
Yeah.
or 12.
Yeah.
And I had the lady who used to work for me,
Mm-hmm.
and she used to come every day with her daughter. I
Mhm.
kept her because it was nice to
Yeah.
have her, and my children are in school.
Yeah.
So my problem was that when I met Gunnar, I was like, I love him. I know he has no problem. I had explained that I have my children, but I never mentioned anything else.
Yeah.
I never told him about all the other people.
Yeah.
So for me, when he traveled to Kenya, was like the first time he came, I never allowed him to come home.
Yeah.
Seriously, you
Yeah.
remember?
yeah,
I
the first
kept him.
days.
Yeah.
And then
The
I
first
pushed
days.
for it.
Yes, it was like,
And what did you
okay.
think when you saw all the people?
A little bit like I explained before,
Yeah.
I've been looking for things, and when I came home to Maggie first time and met all these and realized that, yeah, they are living with her,
Yeah.
I felt like, yeah, this is what I've been looking for.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
to me, what Maggie was
Fearing, yeah.
fearing to expose to me
Yeah.
was like a deal breaker that, yeah, now
Yeah.
I found my place.
For you, might have been a deal breaker. For him, it's a jackpot.
Yeah,
This is
actually,
what I've been
when he came back to Sweden, that's when he proposed, and he said, yeah. It was like, sure, now I want to marry you.
Wow.
So for me, it was like, this is what I feared, and it's
Mhm.
what worked for me.
Mhm.
So that was actually, and also my family.
Yeah.
You know, in I have a big family,
Mhm.
and I have such a big family. I have eight siblings, and all of them are grown up, so they have their own family.
Right.
So when we met home, and it was like he was alone, like the only standing white man
Mhm.
in a sea of so many of my family.
Yeah.
It was like I watched from a distance to see how it was, and he was okay.
Yeah.
So for me, that was nice because I love people.
Yeah.
That is who I am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and that was good for him as well. He was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
do you have like many siblings?
I have 2 siblings.
Okay.
And I have a mother that's still alive.
Yeah.
I have some contact with my mother. I
Mhm.
have some contact with my sister,
Mhm.
but not really a lot.
Mhm.
and yeah, it has been something that I've been missing,
Yeah.
a family.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So, okay, so just fast forward a little bit from that point on. I'm wondering, before you got married, are there things that, I mean, of course, every married couple, before they get married, there are things that they have to discuss before they get married. But are there any things that you had to discuss that you felt were very much inclined to because of our differences in culture? Is there anything you can think about that you thought, maybe how are we to celebrate Christmas? What are we going to be eating? What will we be speaking? How will we raise our kids? I don't know. Are there things that you have to think about because of being from different cultures?
I really cannot say we discussed anything much apart from what my husband said about discipline of children.
Yeah.
And that is maybe totally a different thing. But as
well, it's still a cultural thing.
Yeah, it's a cultural thing. For me, it was like, I don't know then how I'm supposed to bring up children.
Yeah.
Because for me, in Kenya, I mean, there is corporal punishment, but there's discipline.
Okay.
Like I would discipline my children.
How is that? Can you explain what that is?
For me, I can't say I hit my children.
No.
I've never actually, I cannot say I've ever hit my children, but my words are tough. And I can also look for other ways to be very strict. And when I am tough, my face is tough. And so he was afraid. He was afraid that when I come, he told me, you have to be very calm. It's like even if you shout to a child, they can call the police and blah, 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 you know. That kind of
and
thing.
how did that make you feel?
I was afraid.
Yeah.
It was something that really made me feel like, we discussed it many times, and I told him, okay, I would say this, I told him, okay, I know the schools are like this. They're like, the child can do this, but I sat down with my children, and he was there. And I told them, even if we go, remember, it is for your own good. I mean, my house is my house. You cannot do whatever you want because I'm not supposed to discipline you. It's for your own good. And I've come to realize that he has come also to see the point in that. Because it's good when children respect you, not because, I mean, we don't just punish children. It's when they do wrong.
So, Gunnar, is it something that you've come to compromise about, or is it something that you actually see as a good way of raising children?
I do believe that Sweden has gone too far with just letting children grow up by themselves. Children need guidance. And I tried to tell Maggie that, yeah, in public you have to be very careful, but I mean, in the house, as long as you don't use corporal punishment, you can be very tough with children because it's in your home. You can tell them what they need to know, especially if you are able to keep just with your words.
Yeah.
And I do believe that's a good way to keep to teach the children how to behave. Because I believe that too many children today, they lack that guidance.
That's interesting you say that, because I will be doing a program about raising children. Because for me, it's a whole issue, being a teacher and being with children every day. It's another story altogether. But that's one of the cultural differences. Is there anything else that you thought, okay, we need to discuss this before we get married? Gunnar, maybe, do you think of anything that you thought,
Not really cultural differences. I don't think we...
Because to an extent, personality and culture, some of your personality is really due to your culture, and maybe it's hard to see the difference. I don't know. But what do you think?
I mean, I realized that food could be a question, but still
Did you talk about that?
not really.
No.
Not
No.
really.
But is it something you thought about?
It's something I thought about.
What was
and,
your fear or your excitement or your question?
Actually, I mean, there are several things in the Swedish kitchen that you have come to love almost more than me.
Yeah.
I mean, meatballs and mashed potatoes.
Margaret likes that.
I love.
Wow.
Falukorv.
I love Falkov.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then there are other things that, like herring, and I don't talk about sourströmming. I talk about the normal herring,
The pickled one.
pickled
Yeah,
one. Yeah,
Love it.
You love it?
I love it.
Yeah, me
Okay.
too. I can eat whole dinner just with pickled herring. So, but I mean, I keep my tins with pickled herring, and they don't eat off it, so it's not
Okay.
a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Just mentioned yesterday, if I can, about the feeling of always telling, headship, family headship.
yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
What about that? Please enlighten me on it.
Personally, I have grown up knowing that the man is the head of the family, not necessarily money-wise, but personally, I've grown knowing that as a wife, he's an authority over me,
Okay.
and I feel very uncomfortable when I feel like I'm taking over. I know I lived a long time as a single mother, and everything was on me. So when I got married, I actually got married to the knowledge or to the norm that I'm getting married to be a wife. That one is both biblical, it's both societal. Maybe things are changing. I don't like. I feel uncomfortable making decisions.
Okay.
I know I can make decisions, but I feel better if I can bring my decision to him and feel like I want you to give you these decisions and you take over. Like not rule over me. You get it? Not control me. Not feel like he's pushing everyone down. But as a person, I felt like when I get married, I want a man who will make me feel like I am in control of the home. I'm in control of economy. He makes decisions and I come to agree with him. That is me, Margaret.
Is it possible for you, let's say, to give me an example? Because that sounds very general and very broad. Like in what scenarios
In
in
what
a
scenarios
home, in your
in a home?
marriage, do you expect that the man is the head?
Yeah, yesterday when we were talking about these things, you said you feel me every time you say he was brought in a society that makes everyone equal. Like even if we are married, no one has the
final word.
Exactly.
So
For me, I feel like that is a struggle with me. Even today, that as my husband, I want him to come up with issues. I want him to I feel comfortable if I decide something and then he will back that up, like, yes, let's do this. But I feel like if I make a decision and I take over that decision and I do it, I'm not
overstepping your
my part as a wife. As maybe that's old-fashioned. I don't know, but that's me.
Yeah.
And I struggle with that because my husband is good, and he wants me to. You do what you want.
Do you think that's a Kenyan culture to have the man as the head of the home?
It
Yes.
it is
Okay.
Kenyan culture.
Yeah.
I've seen my mother.
Yeah.
I've seen my sisters who are married, and it makes me happy to see them giving the due respect to the head of the home, as he's called. And me being a Christian, if I can say this, I do believe that the wife should be the head. So every time the wife want to be the wife should be the neck. Every time the wife want to be some dysfunction, even before God. I mean, why are you doing something you're not supposed to do? And I feel like if the husband can take over being the head, not necessarily money-wise or anything, but being the authority and asking God to give them the authority, then there is grace.
Why do you keep saying not necessarily money-wise? What does that mean?
Because it doesn't matter whether I'm earning more or he's not earning more. That has nothing to do with him being an authority. It has something with respect. That I want to respect him because it is him who, that's cultural for me, that I should respect my husband.
And Gunnar, what do you have to say about that? What do you feel about all this?
Like you said, that I've had problems to like being authority because I've been brought up that women and men are equal. So in a family, the decisions should be taken together, not someone saying, "Let's do this." And I've felt a little bit out of my way sometimes when I try to discuss things and Maggie wants me to decide.
Okay, we're not having a discussion. Please tell me the answer to this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like that.
So then you had to make decisions anyway?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to learn.
I've not really felt comfortable doing it, but at the same time I'm trying to grow into it because that's something that Maggie wants. And I mean, it's not like pushing down me, it's more like
raising you up.
Yeah, in a way that I'm not used to.
Okay, that's very interesting because I also think when I hear you talking about it, I'm wondering how you come to a resolution, you know? How do you deal with the situation when it arises? Is it because then you're not discussing it, right?
Yeah.
So then you just have to do whatever you want to do or whatever you decide?
No.
Or does it bring tension? Does it bring frustration?
If we have something to discuss, or if I have something I want, like we are discussing, or maybe of buying something or doing something in the house or changing something, I may come up with the idea, but I feel uncomfortable to really carry that idea to 100%. Like I come up with the idea, I decide and I tell him, let's go and do it. I want him to take part. I want to bring the idea to him, and then I want to hear his input. In case he says my idea is not good, I should be ready to discuss that with him. That's the point. I should not be the one that I want that and I'm going to the shop to get it. I don't want anybody's input.
So in the same way, do you expect him to have an idea?
Yes,
and should he run it by you, or should he just decide since he's the head?
I think he should run it with me.
Okay, so
He should
run it with you, but he should decide anyway. So what's the point of him running it with you?
The point is that
anyway, I'm
no, I know. The point is that if he decide like that, I'm okay. If he decide like that and ask me, I feel, if I can say, I feel involved. That's the word. But as for me, you get my point. This is me, not him.
Yeah.
If he does that, I consider that's his point. That is work. He can do that. But as for me, I feel like I have to go through him. You get the point?
Yeah.
It's not like we have to. It's okay. We have to do that, and it's okay for him to ask me. And I can say, I think this and this, and we can discuss. But as for me to come up with an idea, go through with it without asking him, and just think because we have the permission to decide to do what we want, I feel that's not right.
Okay.
You get the point?
You
get it. Like as for me, I don't feel comfortable to come up with an idea and do it without really checking with him. But as for him coming up with an idea and checking with me, it's okay. And sometimes even if he doesn't check with me, I may feel like he should have asked me. But as for me, that's okay.
So to an extent, what you're actually saying is, what he's saying is that the man and the woman are equal, but you have different roles.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't take the
exactly.
equality away,
No,
because
no.
when you say that he's the head, it almost feels like then what is the woman? It's like the woman is not there. Maybe that's what he was thinking, the equality. Yeah. But that's interesting with the cultural differences, because you
Yes.
still have to keep working on
mean,
things.
I've been brought.
Yeah.
I've been brought up that way.
Yeah.
You know, okay. If we come back to it, maybe
It's like your
something
backbone.
in me
Yeah.
that I'm trying to struggle with becoming what he want me to become. We are equal. But as me, I grew up knowing that my mother was not. She had really to go after, like a step after my father. So I've been brought up that way. It's something that I'm not hating it. It's something good to really know that he can expect me to decide things. But still, I feel more comfortable if I can feel like he's a shield over me, if you can say that. Because an authority is not, money is not what we decide. It just feels like there's someone over your head, a covering over your head.
Now this brings me to a different thought here. You know, when it comes to our cultures and our values, and many of our values are because of our culture, many of them, I mean, not all of them. When is it okay to compromise on them, and when is it not? Like, when do you decide this one I can compromise on and this one, no way, this is how it's supposed to be? I don't care what he or she thinks. I mean, are there things like that you think about? Because right now, actually, as we see it here, I'm thinking of things that maybe actually, no, I'm not changing. I don't know.
Yes, there are things that cultural demand, morals that are demanded by culture. You know, there's some culture in our culture. There's some things that say you cannot go beyond there. As for me, there's some things I have decided that this is who I am. I cannot change, and we've come to agree to disagree. That you believe that, and I believe this.
Yeah.
So yes, there's some things that compromise. I cannot say that I've compromised.
Because now, you know why I'm
anything.
saying that? It's because you touched on something. You said now you're trying to fit into the way he wants you to be. So I'm thinking, so of course, because you're one entity, then at some point you want to agree on everything, I don't know, or you want to actually be different, or like, what is it that you can actually say, this one we shall agree on, and this one, let's agree that we'll never see eye to eye,
meet
or
halfway.
we meet,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, as for that issue about me wanting him to be the authority over me, I cannot push him to be someone he doesn't want to be. And there's some things that are so deep rooted in someone, you cannot chase them away. I mean, that is a way we have to compromise. And I think coming to agree or disagree is that. It's compromise.
Yeah, but concerning that, I think it's something I'm working on. I mean, I can't just change
overnight.
Overnight, but I'm working on it. I feel that Maggie wants me to be like this, and since I can't really say that this is to my
Negative.
disadvantage.
Yeah, exactly.
Why not try to change? So I'm working on that issue. Then there are other issues where we have different views, and but I mean, they are not important to our marriage as such.
Okay.
So that's areas where we agree to disagree.
Right.
Exactly.
That's well put.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as it's not
in our home.
In our home, in our it's we can manage without agreeing, without changing the views.
Yeah. Now I have another aspect of this cross-cultural marriages, and it's because I've also dealt and spoken to different people in the same setting, and it's about in-laws, right? Especially when you are, let's say, when Gunnar, you go to Kenya, or Margaret being here in Sweden, how you feel, maybe if you've lived in that society for a while, how you feel the family takes you, and whether you feel at home, or how how much the families would compromise when it comes to maybe cultures and traditions, when it comes to events or stuff like that. How has it been, let's say, for you, Margaret, because you've been living here for a while? How have you felt? Let's say, how do you celebrate your Christmas? Is it important to you?
It is.
How you celebrate it? Or I don't know, things like that.
At least that's one issue we have not had any differences. The way we
Okay.
celebrate Christmas in Kenya, I've not seen any difference here. In any case, it has made me richer. I feel like I've become richer. There's so many ways that I've seen Christmas celebrated here that has made me feel like, yeah, this is something I want. It's people really go for it.
But your family, I mean, like
My family, we celebrate the same way.
Yeah.
We eat a lot. We meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the same thing that we do here.
Yeah.
We meet with his family.
I mean, if you slaughter a goat and grill it, or if you slaughter a pig and cook it.
Wait, do you have goats here?
No, but
Okay, that
in
would be
Kenya,
great. Okay, yeah. I was like, please tell me.
Yeah.
Yes.
The one time I've celebrated Christmas in
Yeah, in
Kenya,
Kenya.
your brother had bought a goat and made a barbecue with.
Yes, called nyama choma.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean it's like Maggie said, we are eating a lot even if we eat different things.
Yeah.
It's, we are celebrating by eating a lot. And then there are some gifts, and so there's not a big difference in between how we celebrate
Yes.
Christmas, basically.
Yeah. I touched on Christmas because it's usually a big holiday in most parts of the world. Maybe
Yes.
there's something that's more important to you guys that you think, oh, I wish it was done this way. Ooh, I miss this. It's because of being in this relationship, it's different. And now I have to adopt to it, or I don't know.
No,
No.
no.
All right. Great.
No. I find that Sweden has more holidays to celebrate than Kenya. Like yesterday, this was a holiday.
Yeah.
Tretondagen,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, so there are some holidays like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the same. This Easter, this Christmas, is we celebrate the same way. Yeah.
And Ascension Day.
Ascension Day, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, maybe the last question I could ask is about compromises. And maybe you've touched on one. Is there any other compromise that you can think that has been a tough compromise that you've had to make or take?
I want to go back to economy. And
Well, you haven't touched on economy.
okay, we haven't talked
No.
about money. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe it's not a compromise, but it is something that is important maybe for us to help in Kenya, we help our relatives. It can go even back to my uncles, to my grandmother. And that was, what I meant is that I can go back to that. I was worried about that I give. And when I stayed 2 years in Sweden without a job, learning. I was in school.
Wow.
But he took over that.
What
And
did he take over?
He took over helping the people I left back home. If I
Really?
needed money, he never complained.
Right.
For me, that was something that I was afraid of. Like what will I do?
Did you talk about it before you got married?
We did.
Yeah.
We did. We did. Many times I sat him down and I told him, I want this money. I used to do like this. Would you help me? And yeah, you did. Without complaining.
And I mean that's
Without complaining.
going back to the way I was brought up
Yeah.
with my
Yes.
grandparents.
Yeah.
I mean, in the Swedish culture, beginning of last century, you took care of family. Nowadays, you don't take care of family. So, to me, it was natural. I mean, you helped family.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a problem for me, but
Yeah.
I can believe that it is a problem for
The now
the-
generation, maybe.
the new
The new
generation.
generation.
Yeah.
And actually many in my generation that were not
Raised.
brought up
Mm.
the old way.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So that you thought might be an issue, but
Yes,
then
I
it
was always
wasn't an
worried.
issue, and you took over for all this while, and it
Yes.
was not a problem.
No,
That's
to me
amazing.
it was natural.
Mm.
Yeah. So actually, that's something I didn't know about him.
Mm.
I knew that he can help me, and he was ready to take me and my children. But what about the others?
Mm.
And it came easy.
Wow.
Also about me, there is, if you can say, a cultural difference. Of I got married with 2 children. My
Mm.
daughter, one of my daughters, was grown up.
Mm.
In our culture,
Mm.
you know, that's not
Mm.
easy.
Mm.
So for me, that's a big difference. That when you can come and he marries me with 2 children, and it's like they're mine.
Mm.
In our culture, it's not easy to get married with 2 children. I actually like it's gone. You
Mm.
cannot get married.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that is another maybe something that is people should consider.
Mm.
That I know they really their culture or the interracial.
Mm.
Most of them children are children.
Mm.
And that was a big plus for me. That was really important for me.
Why are you
because-
laughing, Gunnar?
Because Maggie and the girls came in March,
Mm.
and was it that summer or was it summer after? Abby, our youngest, and I was visiting a friend of her,
Mm-hmm.
and I started to talk to the mother in the family, and then and she asked when we moved back to Sweden,
Yeah.
and I told her that no, I've been living in Sweden the whole time. Maggie and the girls came here, but Abby, isn't she your daughter?
Oh wow.
And she was
So-
sweet.
Mm.
It was
Yeah.
like
So it was like the interaction in between me and Abigail,
Yes, was so natural and
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. And I actually counted the other day that I think now I've been in more than half of Abby's life.
That's amazing. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. I have really
children.
enjoyed talking to both of you.
Mm.
But before you go, is there something that maybe you could encourage to somebody out there who's watching and feels like they're contemplating a cross-cultural marriage? What pointers or what encouragement, what tips can you give them? Maybe we start with you, Margaret, then
Yes.
Gunnar.
I would like to tell anybody out there who's considering interracial, you have to work towards that marriage.
You have to work.
Don't come with very high expectations, because life is still life.
Mm.
If allow me to say this man may be white skinned, but inside him he has a heart and red blood like anybody else.
Mm.
So he's still a human being.
Mm.
So don't come knowing that you're getting married.
Mm.
Come open to things that are new,
Mm.
and come ready to stand your ground. Do
Mm.
not come just to like. It is still life. It may be a white man. It may be a new country. Just come knowing it's a marriage like any other. You're meeting a human being. You need to work hard
Mm.
in your marriage.
Mm.
You need to stand
Mm.
and don't let your life be moved by things. There are different things here,
Mm.
and there are many different things.
Mm.
The weather is crazy. Come ready
Mm.
to experience cold,
Mm.
and just be positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, be
Thank you.
positive. That's all I would ask them to be.
Thank you. What about you, Gunnar?
Yeah, like you have to be open-minded, but
Open-minded. Mm.
that's something you have to be in any marriage.
Mhm.
I mean, it doesn't matter if you're both born in Sweden. You can have so different upbringing
Mhm.
that the differences are much more, much bigger than in between Maggie and me. So any marriage, you need to talk, you need to discuss, you need to find a common way. And in that way, intercultural marriages are no difference. There might be other issues than in between within the country, but the differences are in whatever marriage. And you have to be open every time. I mean, if you don't open up, if you want, this is how it has been, this is how it always should be, you will never experience something new. And experience something new, and that's what makes you grow.
Good one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Margaret and Gunnar Palmgren. Thank you, viewers, for watching today. I hope you've been encouraged. I hope you've been able to see something different, and maybe has got you thinking about the vastness of life and the vastness of the world, and it's opened your mind to experience new things. Well, if you have any questions or concerns or ideas, don't hesitate to call, to write us on Facebook or on Twitter. And also, if you have ideas of other topics that you would like to hear about, also just contact us. We'll continue with this cross-cultural marriage because, of course, there are many factors that bring people together, and there are different cultures that maybe there's a different concern when it comes to different cultures, and more friction or more similarities or more experiences that you can have. So be ready to be open-minded and to continue to tune into The World Today with Kay. Have a good day. Bye.